Welcome back to the Marvel Movie Minute, a daily podcast which we disassemble a film from the Marvel Cinematic Universe into 1-minute segments and then examine its obsessive and occasionally hilarious detail. I'm Kyle Olson from the Swashbuckling Ladies Debate Society podcast.
Hey, and I'm Rob Cabasco. And Kyle.
Yes, sir.
Latin phrases.
Ah.
There's many, obviously.
In vino veritas. That was the first Latin phrase I learned because it was the name of a Star Trek album episode title. Do you remember that? So that's why we're going to go. Already we're diverging. Even you had your thing ready. I'm already taking.
No, this is good. No, this is good.
So for those of you who don't know, before the age of even audio cassettes, there were records. Before there were vinyl, there were records, and so there was a bunch of ones for kids. So when I was a kid, they actually had a record album that was like, it was not the original actors, but it was the other actors playing them, and there were Star Trek episodes that would play, and you would just sit with your giant headphones on in front of the record player and listen to these things. And so one of the episode was called In Vino Veritas, and it was about, I don't know, some kind of like it was space wine, but I always wondered what that was. And so like years later then, when I like had the access to that kind of stuff, I looked up to find out what that means, and it means in wine is truth.
Oh.
So that phrase was also used in Tombstone because Doc Holliday at one point is, when he meets Johnny Ringo, is drinking and he says in vino veritas, and then Johnny Ringo answers him in Latin. So then it turns out that both of them speak Latin.
Oh, what an awesome pull. That's okay. Now you're better. That was better than mine. I was just going to go. I was just going to go e pluribus unum ad astra per aspera.
Yep.
And then I was going to say like, okay, and look, as much as people might, because of classical education or their reading or other things, probably no Latin phrase had greater impact on pop culture than, yes, from the 1989 American drama Dead Poet Society, Carpe Diem.
Mm-hmm.
And then
seize the DM.
Seize the DM. Or Carpe Nocturne, like seize the night. I mean, yeah, you did this. I like yours better. Way to go. Nice job.
I don't speak Latin. I never studied Latin, but I really love Latin phrases. So I love just the idea of like there's a thing. And actually, for those of you who are fans of the Swashbuckling Ladies Debate Society, eventually there will come a homage to that scene in Tombstone, because one of the ladies actually speaks Latin, so she meets someone else who speaks Latin. They have a little Latin off in the middle of a battle. So I put it in there, and it tickled me so much. And I know it's just gonna, for 90% of the audience are gonna be super annoyed by it, and only like maybe like 1% are actually gonna be like, "Oh, that's pretty clever," and I like how you did that. But because nobody speaks Latin here at minute 81, Iron Man 2 from 2010, directed by Mr. Jon Favreau. That was, of course, we learned early on in this show and in the commentary that that was a observation that Gwyneth Paltrow made, that nobody speaks Latin. So they thought that was funny, and so they put it in the movie. But it turns out someone does, because as we're getting into this, we see Pepper and we pick up where we left off, which is Pepper and Happy are walking out the door, leaving Tony and Natalie alone, and so. Immediately as soon as they don't basically they drop the veneer, like they basically
right.
And so Natalie's like Natasha says, "I'm surprised you can keep your mouth shut," because he in the last minute in an 80 he almost blew her cover because he was trying to be all charming but annoying at the same time. But Tony's like undeterred. He's like, "Boy, you're good. You are mind-blowingly duplicitous. How do you do it?" And he says, "You just tear things. You're a triple imposter." I was like,
that's a great line.
That's really good. I was like, is she a triple imposter? So she's a person who's a SHIELD agent pretending to be working with them. She's pretending to be now. She's not really a triple imposter.
Well, I think
she's all. Oh, I see. She's not only is she not. No, I don't know the triple imposter thing goes. I mean, it is a funny line. I'm just trying to think, is that accurate?
I think he's talking about even like the stuff in her, you remember, in her history, in her resume. Oh, yeah. And like all the different things. When we talked about that in a previous minute. I think he's kind of referring to that. He's just like, she is not who he thought she was before he even thought she was who he knew.
Oh.
No, I don't.
Oh, I see. Pronoun trouble.
It's a great line. Triple imposter. I mean, it's just Tony being Tony. Yeah. Like, you know.
And he continues on and he says, I've never seen anything like you. Is there anything real about you? Oh. Do you even speak Latin? And she does. And so she says, Phallus sunt rerum species, which is actually a quote from Seneca the Younger. It means the appearance of things are deceptive. Now, I could do a deep dive on like what that means. But one thing I'm sure of, Rob, Seneca the Younger hated being called Seneca the Younger. Because there was Seneca the Older who was more famous than him. And so through now, here it is, thousands of years later, he's still Seneca the Younger. And somewhere in the great philosophical halls in the sky, he's like, well, why I gotta be Seneca the Younger?
Wow. This minute, we really got into some highbrow conversation.
I it could go even higher even because I dug in a little bit because he was one of the founders of Stoicism. Oh. And so I got deep, and it got to a certain point where I got lost. I was doing all this research stuff, and I'm like, okay, I took philosophy 101, and that was as far as I got. I have a healthy respect for it. I'm a big fan of The Good Place, which does it very well, but I don't understand the heavy philosophical content, so I cannot give you a nice synopsis of Stoicism because it just got. But the pop culture version of Stoicism is exactly what Natasha really resembles. Because she doesn't outwardly does not let anything show. She basically lets it, and obviously Stoicism goes a lot deeper than that. But what we armchair people know of Stoicism is basically that it's very clean. It's very Vulcan. Oh, you basically don't let any emotion show, even if it affects you. You basically keep your cards very close, and I think that is pretty much what Natasha Romanoff does. She never lets anything phase her. I mean, even when a giant space worm is coming around to bearing down on them, her response to "I'm bringing the party to you" is, "I don't see how that's a party."
Right. That's also a great flat. Line.
Yes, exactly. But deadpan.
In this case, though, I think part of the character is that look at if the role that she needed to play to do what she has to do needs someone to provide response, she would. Here's the deal. She knows that this is even more complexing to Tony Stark.
Yes.
To give him nothing. Because all he does is work off the emotions and the expressions and the reactions of people. That's his shtick. So the fact that she's giving him nothing is even making him even more contorted. So
yeah, which is all part of the plan. So she says the appearance of things are deceptive, and Tony does not understand Latin, obviously, and he says, which means, wait, what? What did you just say? As she's walking out the door, and she turns and says, it means you can either drive yourself home or I can have you collected. Which it doesn't. But that's collected? The thing is, this is the most annoyed we have seen her because she was there at his house. He's supposed to be at his house. He's supposed to be on lockdown. Right. And the fact that this is later the same day. Yeah, this isn't like he didn't sleep and then do it. This is later that day. She's like, what the heck? You have a job, man. And also your job is to not die. You're supposed to be at home finding a cure so you don't die. What are you doing here delivering poison berries to your ex-girlfriend? Ex-girlfriend? I don't know. I don't know exactly what.
Oh no, how they not ex yet. No. Okay. This isn't. She's not officially girlfriend yet.
Okay, but even so, still poison. So then she slams. He says, "You're good," as she's slams the door, and so then he's left alone with the artwork. What is the name of the kinetic sculpture? Do you remember?
It's called the Swinging Sticks.
And so he then tries to jam all the stuff on her desk into it to stop it from swinging, and it doesn't. And in the commentary, Jon Favreau even says, man, even the art sculpture's giving him a hard time.
And Robert Downey Jr.'s got this great look of exasperation, when he's doing this. It's just it's a fun little sequence, where this shows that he's off balance. Yeah. In midst of everything else that's going on, we still got the chemical thing going on in his body. All this stuff is that he's just would like to have a little bit of control over the situation. And I think that's actually a really nice little scene that does that. So
this is a connection that probably only you and I could make. But I watched him do it, and so Robert Downey Jr. lunges over and jabs stuff to stop the sculpture from moving. And I was thinking to myself, boy, where have I seen that move? That exact move of like somebody like lunging with their hand and stopping the thing there. And I remembered it was from The Incredible Hulk. It was when Edward Norton as Bruce Banner reaches over to stop the like when he's meditating.
Oh, the metronome.
Yeah, when you stop the metronome. And the same kind of thing. It's like it's a character. It's a ticking thing. It's moving, and he reaches over and grabs it and stops it. And like, it's almost like shot from the same sort of angle and stuff too. Like it's not an homage. It's just like I looked at the two things and thinking, and us who have studied these things back and forth, and I kind of went, oh yeah, it is sort of the same thing. Like two of these, frustrated, stop the ticky thing. I'm just enough. So then Tony gets up and then goes with his box of poison berries and walks over, and he goes and dumps them in the trash and misses the trash can entirely. Not one strawberry goes in the trash can.
Well, wait, because I've always just thought this moment is one of the most chuckle-worthy moments, really, and this is saying something. It happens because it's this trash can is not the right size for the box of strawberries. And it's almost like, what was the intent on that? Because, okay, you could have had a larger trash can, right? That's you could have easily had a bigger can. Is this just showing how aloof he is? How he's just, or that he doesn't care? Or that, because he's made a mess. Now when Pepper comes back, there's a whole bunch of rotting strawberries on the ground.
That she should not touch.
Oh my God, everybody. It's only going to get worse. This doesn't make it better.
Yeah.
What is the deal?
I think Tony Stark is used to not cleaning up his own messes. Boom!
Oh, jeez. Right? No, it's a funny little moment that makes you just go, oh my God. Literally, this is the equivalent of you, pouring something out of a container and realizing 20% into pouring it that, oh, I'm making a mess. And instead you just go, I'm just going to keep pouring until the container's empty. I don't care, right? Because what are you doing?
My socks are already wet, so
yeah, I guess. Is that? I really think that is such an interesting little moment because it didn't have to be that way. It's kind of like forget this. I don't care. I'm so frustrated.
Yeah.
Too bad. Strawberries on the ground. That's somebody else's problem. What?
And apparently the strawberries were Robert Downey Jr.'s idea. When they were talking about this, he's like, he should bring her strawberries. They're going, why? Oh, that'd be a nice thing. He should bring her strawberries. So then they sort of went, what if then she's allergic to strawberries? And he brings her strawberries, and But yeah, it was Robert Downey Jr.'s idea was that he should come bearing gifts.
That's so funny. And then he's eating the strawberry. Of course, then we find out.
You actually see him eating one of the strawberries.
Right.
And then, so then something catches his eye, and he sort of looks over and he sees the model. And so there's the model of the World's Fair from '74. And so he walks over and takes a look at it. And then in a really clunky bit of exposition, the camera then cuts to the plaque on the thing, and it says, "The key to the future is here." And it might as well have just said, Tony. So
right here with an arrow. No, there should have been a Bugs Bunny, like Bugs Bunny and Coyote. There should have just been an arrow that appears ding.
Yeah. Looks exclamation point above his head. Oh. Yeah, it was a kind of a clunky bit of editing there of just that weird insert they had to be in there. Be like, huh? Folks, you remember? 2 minutes ago we had this.
It wasn't needed. That really was not needed at all.
No.
Yeah.
It was, but still, we know that this thing is important now. So then he sort of pulls the tarp that's over it with the upside down logo we talked about and looks at it closer. And then as he's sort of studying it, that's where our minute comes to an end.
Just a few things to note. There is, we get a decent shot of the shelves and everything behind there. It looks like there is a model of a B-2 bomber.
Oh, okay.
Sort of.
I believe when he's walking across from the desk, is that where there's a stealth bomber?
That's the stealth bomber, correct?
Okay,
right.
yeah, okay.
That's a B-2.
I don't know if
there's a book about the Louvre, the French Museum. Couldn't really make out any of the other stuff. There's an interesting, very an onyx, a black globe. Which, of course, if you're going to be Tony Stark, you're going to have a cool globe.
Yeah, I could not figure out what the other artwork was. It was just a big black splotch. I didn't know what that was. I'm sure it's it has an actual artist thing, but it's really, really hard to Google search big black splotch artwork.
Right. And then there is
art scholars out there. If they know what that is, please let us know.
Oh no, I mean you're kidding. No, you're right. There is a framed piece of art.
That's actually a Renoir from the. Oh, okay.
No, it's a
Rothschild. It's a. Who's Jackson Pollock? It's a Jackson Pollock.
Oh, right.
One. Color.
No, it's too clean. It's too clean to be that.
So Rothko, is that a?
Yeah.
Is that okay.
He's got, and there's also appears to be, okay, I think this is kind of interesting. There's a framed piece of art behind some boxes that almost looks like it has spray painted the words. You can't see enough of this to know, but it almost looks like it says UFO, which I thought was interesting. And again, I mean, I'm sure there's a bunch of different weird meanings and stuff for this, for the stuff that's here. But you know, some thought has gone into this. So interesting.
Yeah, good on the set designer for designing, an office in transition.
Yes,
because it's been both of their offices.
So okay, so there's something with the model.
I guess something with the model. Maybe in the model there's a solution to a riddle.
Well, no, it's a key because he has to unlock. Right. He has to unlock the riddle of his heart.
Oh, okay.
No, that's we've never said.
Keys to the future is here. It's here. In the model, it's here.
I should just note again, because I love this. I love the sequence that is about to follow in these next few minutes. Mm-hmm. It doesn't make total sense, but that's okay because I think it's just cool. It's a cool concept. I'm cool with this concept. It's cool. I don't know. We'll see.
Okay. Well, if you're a fan of images in sequence not making a whole lot of sense, then a great place for you would be Instagram.
Oh, that's
right.
True.
Because you cultivate your own feed and you never know what you're going to get when you go on there. But one of the things you will get is us. That's right. The next reel is on Instagram. We have posts for all of our shows. We have interactive stuff. We have notes. We have and all done in a very nice, clean. We probably not to clutter your feed. Our things will never be ostentatious and we will never be annoying. That is our promise to you. Please follow us at the next reel on Instagram. Be there or don't, but do, but don't, but do.
Yeah.
I'm of a divided mind. So make sure you be back here when we find out what is it that Tony Stark's in there. Maybe he'll do some weird gesturing. Maybe he'll do some scanning. We're going to get high tech because hardware time is coming and you don't want to miss it. Enough said.
Bye.